The fateful 6 p.m. is getting closer and closer. I was passing the time by reading a bunko novel book next to Kirigiri, The 𝘗𝘢𝘁𝘓 House Murders, a mystery novel about a group of college students trapped in an isolated island and killed one by one. Reading this kind of thrilling novel under such a tense situation, I feel an unexplainable sense of peace in my heart, perhaps because that unique sense of tension and anxiety was beginning to paralyze my spirit. Nanomura sat on the sofa with his legs crossed, meditating. His quiet, motionless appearance is probably quite rare. Not far from him, 4 people, Toyonoo, Minase, Chage, and Mifune, were playing cards. And it looked like they were having a good time playing Daifuga. Shinsen seems to be reading some very difficult book. His expression is always very calm, as if he's been enlightened. I can feel spiritual tolerance from him. Yozuru is still leaning on the tofa lazily. Maybe she's asleep. From time to time, I could hear her panting and mumbling some inexplicable words to herself, which felt a bit scary. Uozumi has been busy all the time in the reception room, probably to act like a maid. I didn't realize she was a detective. But in this way, things are getting more complicated as well. Nanomura glanced at his watch. I followed suit and checked the time on my phone. 5 minutes left. Toyonoo and the others, who'd been playing cards, were also becoming restless. "Time's almost up," I whispered to Kirigiri. Kirigiri nodded slightly and retied the ribbon on her 3-strand braid. The fated hour has finally arrived. Click. 6 p.m. has arrived. A weird sound rang throughout the lobby. The others also heard it. I stretched my neck and looked around. "A door is opened." Nanomura stood up. "Everyone, come with me." Nanomura walked in the direction where the sound came from. There's a heavy double door there. We followed him one after another. Nanomura put his hand on the door. "The door is unlocked," he said while holding the doorknob. He pushed the door open with some force. It's finally started. What exactly is waiting for us? The room behind the door should be the cafeteria. There's a dining table in the center of the room with a white tablecloth. 5 pairs of chairs are facing each other beside the dining table, each with a white plate and a set of knives and forks in front. The ceiling is so high that it looks like it's part of the 2nd story. There's also balcony-like corridors on the 2nd floor, which encircle the room and overlook the entire 1st floor from above. Opposite from the door are staircases leading to those balconies, with the dining table in between. At first glance, the windows are blocked off, and I can't see the outside. The lights on the ceiling illuminate the room brightly. There's no sign of anyone in the room. We walked into the cafeteria together, looking around and inspecting. There are 2 strange things on the left-hand side of the door. One of them is an electronic display screen. The red digital numbers on the screen are changing in present time. 111, 57, 48. The last number is constantly decreasing. 48, 47, 46. Minase and the others didn't seem to understand it, but I immediately knew what the numbers were. This is the remaining time for the Black Challenge. Next to the electronic display, there's a small compartment in the shape of a box, about the size of a telephone booth. There's a door on the front of the compartment, which makes entering it possible. "What is this? It's dangerous, don't touch it casually," I reminded Mifune. Her shoulders began to tremble, and she hurried to hide away from it. Behind this compartment, there's a fireplace against the inner wall. The fireplace is filled with firewood. It can be used at any time as soon as it's lit. But there's heating in the room already, so it seems that there's no need to use the fireplace. Welcome to all participants. A sudden electronic sound rang throughout the room. It looked like it was being broadcast throughout the hotel. "Who's there?" Mifune looked around with distress. However, apart from us, no one else was seen. "I'm here. Here." Although we can hear a voice, we can't see anyone. Since this person is speaking on a broadcast system, they may be in the broadcasting room. "I'm here. Please, look up a little." I looked up to the balcony on the second floor. The balcony protruded towards the interior, and on the wall was hung a huge portrait of a foreigner with brown hair. Although it's painted as a portrait, the person in the painting is a young man dressed in modest and unremarkable clothes. The young man is gazing diagonally forward with a blank stare.
Yes, that's right.
His mouth moved. Ah! I couldn't help screaming. The young man in the painting spoke. Kirigiri-chan, look, the painting's moving, I said, tugging at Kirigiri's shirt. Everyone's eyes are now focused on the portrait, and the young man in the painting spoke again.
Hello, I'm Norman, a killer who died almost half a century ago.
Killer? Why is there a portrait of such a person hanging upstairs in the cafeteria? And why is the painting talking? Am I dreaming? That's not a portrait, it's an LCD screen. According to the size, the value is about 25,000. I didn't know that Nanomura was already on the balcony, and was standing next to the portrait to examine it. The swiftness of his actions are truly impressive. What? It's just an LCD screen inside of a picture frame? Minase said with a sigh of relief. I don't quite understand. What do you mean by this? Mifune tilted her head and said. It means that the image displayed on the LCD screen is talking. It should be an animation effect, with the portrait's mouth moving in sync with the voice. I still don't get it, but it's scary. Mifune took a few timid steps backwards.
Don't be so scared. After all, I died half a century ago, and now I only exist in this painting. Anyway, the time has come. The much-anticipated auction is about to start. Is everyone ready?
No, wait. I don't think I'm ready for the auction after being kept waiting for so long. I mean, who in the world are you, anyway?
Then let's begin the explanation.
The talking portrait, Norman, didn't care about our opinions at all, and he continued. Is the criminal operating from behind the screen?
Before that, I have seats for everyone. So how about sitting down first?
We looked at each other, but no one moved. Witnessing such a strange and somewhat comical thing happening before our eyes, it was as if all our senses had become dull.
I'll only explain once. It's better for you to sit down quickly,
Norman said. We picked up chairs randomly and sat down. The order of the seats based on the Norman painting from the right-hand side of his head, the side closer to the painting, was operated by Uezumi, Kirigiri, me, Toyonoo, and Minase in order. And on the opposite side were Nanomura, Yuzuru, Chage, Mifune, and Shinsen. We're on the side closer to the lobby.
Once again, I would like to welcome all of you to this exciting and mysterious auction. Now, I would like to introduce myself. The dead killer Norman. Please take care of me.
An applause sound came out of nowhere, and appeared to be some kind of sound effect. We clapped along with it, confused. We were completely carried away by this atmosphere.
Now that all the guests are here, let me say a couple of words about the upcoming auction.
We looked up at the portrait in silence.
First of all, if you have cash on hand, could you please take it out and put it on the table? Cash is not allowed at this auction.
I took my wallet out of my pocket and looked at the cash inside. There are still only 2 1,000 yen bills, and only a little change is remaining. As Norman said, I put all the money on the table. Kirigiri next to me didn't come up with any money because she only brought a credit card. Incidentally, she swiped the card for the taxi fare, the one we came here in. So it seems she really didn't bring any cash. One by one, everyone else took out their cash and put it on the table. Money, Yuzuru murmured uncomfortably. Are you okay? I asked. She pressed her temple and slumped on the table. If I don't have money on me, I feel like dying. Oh, I'm gonna die. I want to die too. What do you mean I can't keep the 200,000 yen I borrowed from the bank?
Is everyone okay? Oh, cheating isn't allowed. Please search the person next to you to see if there's any cash hidden on their body. If the ladies are not willing to let the gentleman touch them, then the ladies will search each other. I'll only give you 5 minutes. Please move quickly. We looked at each other and didn't know who should start first. But in the end, we all got up from our chairs. We divided men and women for body searches. No, old man, you bastard! Minase shouted. There's still money hidden in your underwear. This is my mom's keepsake. Stop bullshitting. You'll ruin the auction by breaking the rules. Okay.
The money piled up in front of 𝘗𝘢𝘓 is almost 500,000. This person might actually be a real con man. After searching each other, we made sure that no one had any cash left on them.
Very good. Now everyone is finally on the starting line,
Norman in the painting said happily. I still can't accept the fact of a talking portrait.
Next, Maid-kun, can you please collect all the cash on the table together?
Uozumi stood up according to his orders. She held the hem of her apron with both hands, so that the hem formed a bag shape, and tossed in all the cash in one go. Money, 𝘗𝘢𝘓 said in a voice that sounded like it would break at any moment. My money is 553,245 yen, 𝘗𝘢𝘓 yelled at Uozumi. Uozumi ignored him and collected everyone's cash together.
Next, Maid-kun, please approach the front of the fireplace.
Fireplace? I have a bad feeling about this.
Okay, now throw all the cash you've collected into the fireplace.
Uozumi hesitated for a second. Then, as he ordered, she threw the cash into the fireplace.
There are matches and fire starters on top of the mantelpiece. Use them to set it alight.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Minase stood up. My 200,000! Those 200,000 aren't yours, but the loan company's, right? Mifune giggled and said, Shut up, you pumpkin head! You only have 300 yen, so it doesn't matter to you. My money is 200,000. You asshole! Do you know how difficult it is to make 200,000? Why are you lighting on fire? Burning money is a crime. Yeah, I'm against it too. I'm dying. Money. Pumpkinhead? Hey, who are you calling a pumpkinhead? Is this a government conspiracy? The dining area erupted, and Uozumi's reaction was indifferent. She had already began to light a fire in the fireplace. Hey, stop! Minase ran over to the stove and grabbed Uozumi's shoulder. You're that Norman's henchman, aren't you? This auction is totally out of whack. Are you in cahoots with the person holding this auction? No, Uozumi replied briefly, swatting away Minase's hand, and walked away from the fireplace. The money in the fireplace is burning with firewood. Like 2,000 yen. What the hell? 𝘗𝘢𝘓's voice, full of pain, echoed emptily in the cafeteria.
Don't be discouraged, everyone. After all, pocket money such as 100,000 and 200,000 yen are practically worthless in this auction.
You bastard! Minase glared at the Norman painting fiercely.
Then let's proceed to the next step. Those of you sitting on the chairs, please try to stretch your legs as far as you can. Did you touch anything with your toes?
We did what he said. In fact, my toes did touch something solid. I went under the table to check it out. There's a rather large hiking bag under the dining table. I dragged it out from under the table. This bag is incredibly heavy. My God, what is this? Minase yelled first. There's a total of 10 hiking bags. One for each of us. I opened the hiking bag. Inside is money tightly wrapped with a seal. A bundle of 10,000 yen bills. Moreover, the money was folded into a thick stack, wrapped in a plastic bundle in the shape of a brick. Not just one bundle. There are many more.
One bag is 100 million. There should be 10 bags. You guys can confirm.
This is the first time I've seen such a huge sum of money. 100 million? For some reason, Minase's voice had a sobbing tone. I'm no different. My hands holding my hiking bag are shaking unconsciously. It seems that the money is all real. Uozumi tore the packaging seal and inspected the banknotes inside.
This is your money now. I prepared 100 million yen for each of you before the auction that will be held soon. Wouldn't it be boring if only rich people could win this game? I wanted all of you to be able to participate in the auction fairly. With that in mind, I gave you guys this small gift.
Thank you very much. Minase began to bow down to the painting. Speaking of which, this black challenge had written cash 1 billion on it. So that's what it was referring to. I want to live. I have the strength to live again. 𝘗𝘢𝘓 looked more radiant than ever before. With this much money, I can live forever. I want to remarry and have children quickly and form a happy family. Compared with just before, she's now very different. But will there be something I really want at this auction? It doesn't matter if I have 100 million yen if all there is stuff I don't want. Mifune leaned her elbow on the dining table and tilted her head. It's unbelievable that you would share so much money, Shinsen said with his arms folded. I wonder what exactly the auction items will be.
Now that you're ready, I'm going to the main topic. Listen carefully, it's okay to forget about me, but you must remember what I'll say, because I'll only talk about the rules once, and you must listen carefully.
I quickly took out my notebook.
Before the number on the electronic screen turns to 0, this auction house will hold an auction at 6 p.m. every day. Please be careful not to be late, otherwise you won't be able to participate in the auction.
The final deadline is 10 a.m. 5 days from now. The auction at 6 p.m. that day will not be held, which means the auction will be held at most 5 times, including today.
By the way, you can't leave this auction house until the auction is over. But don't worry, and please enjoy this auction to the fullest. No outsiders will bother you. Oh, and although there won't be any outsiders, water and food are guaranteed, rest assured.
None of us spoke. We all listened quietly to Norman explaining his bizarre rules. I'm only going to say this once. These words are probably what limited our actions.
Now, the next step is to finally introduce the auction items. There will be only one auction item to be bid on every day. It's very simple, right? And the items up for bidding are the same every day. So even if you missed it last time, you'll still have the chance to get it next time. So I hope you don't get discouraged and keep at it.
The same item every day? What exactly is he planning for us to bid on?
Then I'll now announce the auction item that I have prepared for everyone. And it is the right to become a detective, aka the detective rights.
What? Everyone made clear voices of dissatisfaction. The faces of Mifune and 𝘗𝘢𝘀 showed expressions of disappointment and confusion. It seems that the auction items are far from their expectations. At the same time, Kirigiri and Nanamura stared at Norman with serious expressions.
I hope you understand this auction now.
Norman's painting suddenly turned into a creepy shadowed face. It was as if there was a flashlight shining on his face from below. That terrifying face appeared in the darkness. It was indeed a face full of madness that a killer must have. Mifune screamed. I got goosebumps.
This is not an ordinary auction, but an extraordinary massacre auction.
What's going on here?
𝘗𝘢𝘀 asked woefully. However, Norman had no intention of answering him. At some point, Norman's paintings had changed back to the original rustic youth.
Right. I haven't introduced this auction house yet. In this old auction house, there is a murderer hiding. And no, that person is not me because I am dead, and only exists now in this painting. This murderer is somewhere in this hotel, capable of killing you all at any time. However, this murderer is very cautious. They will never act recklessly. At night, they'll come out to kill, and they'll kill only one person each night.
The criminal finally showed their fangs. This odd situation made me a little dizzy.
As scary as this murderer is, they do have a weakness. That is, the detective. The murderer can't kill the detective. And, in order to avoid revealing their true identity, they will not commit murder in front of the detective.
What the hell are you talking about? Murderer? Detective? It seemed that only Minase and Mifune could not follow Norman's words. They looked woefully confused with a puzzled expression on their faces. The others seemed to understand it roughly. They all understood the general meaning of this dreadful auction.
You should understand. As long as you can claim the detective rights in the auction, you'll be able to become a detective for that day. The person who claims the detective rights will not be the target of the murderer that night.
What is this? Minase's face turned pale.
Is this what you mentioned about the crime notice?
𝘗𝘢𝘀 cast a condemning glance at me. I shook my head repeatedly.
What is this detective rights? Is it the right not to be killed? If I don't claim it, I'll die, right? Will I die? I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. I want to live. I have so much money now. I wonder if it's the CIA or is it NASA? The auction for detective rights. What is the criminal thinking? Detectives won't be killed. This rule is very similar to the Black Challenge. This is what we call the detective's privilege. The cunning criminal wants to put this privilege for auction. Why would they do this? You can become a detective as long as you pay. This means that anyone can become a detective without talent or ability. To disempower the detective? I won't let them do that. Everyone, please calm down, I stood up and said. The turbulent crowd focused their eyes on me. I waited until they were all quiet, and then went on to say, we don't need to bid for the detective rights. Huh. If you don't get the detective rights, you might get killed. Minase glared at me. No, there's no need to worry about that. Just now he said, the murderer will not carry out murders in front of the detective. In other words, the person who bought the detective rights can gather everyone together to protect them. Oh, that's right. Mifune stopped crying immediately. However, others seemed to doubt my words. Why? Why aren't they agreeing with me? In this game, shouldn't the top reason to buy the detective rights be to protect everyone? If you want to protect everyone as a detective, that's fine. But think about it from the other perspective, Shinsen said calmly. For others, this means entrusting their lives and deaths to someone other than themselves. That's not such an easy thing to do. I'm at a loss. As long as everyone trusts each other. We're all people who've just met each other. Is there such a relationship of trust between us? In fact, I don't know you very well. Even if you're given the detective rights, you may not be able to protect everyone. You may betray us. What I'm saying is what any ordinary person would conclude. It's not that I don't trust you personally. Yeah, I looked down. I was short-sighted. Sorry. Anyway, what the hell is going on? Is this some lousy prank show? I've never heard of such a strange thing before. Minase shouted at Norman. If this auction is the black challenge designed by the criminal, then things are really troubling.
Incidentally,
Norman began speaking again.
The detective rights are only valid for 1 day. If another person takes the detective rights at the next day's auction, then the detective rights will be transferred.
If you want to be a detective all the time, you have to claim the detective rights at every auction. That's what that means.
Now, did you understand my explanation? Considering that there may be some people who are listening and it's going in one ear and out the other, and some people may not have understood them at all, I'll summarize them into 3 main rules. As long as these 3 rules are understood, you should be able to keep up with what I said. Rule 1. Detective rights will be bid at every auction. Rule 2. The murderer will kill 1 person every night, but those with detective rights will not be killed. In addition, the murders will not be carried out in front of the person with the detective rights. Rule 3. The detective rights are only valid until the next auction.
There's one thing I want to confirm. Nanomura raised his right hand slightly and said, It would be a problem if you could add to the rules or change them afterwards. I want you to assure us that the rules will not be changed in the future. However, Norman remained silent about Nanomura's words. Hey! Answer! Minase cried out, but Norman still did not speak. I'm telling you to answer! That's fine, Nanomura interrupted him. I see. What? According to my thinking, the criminals should not be able to break the rules by themselves. The fact that they're so well prepared is the best evidence. Another point is that the criminal themselves are also enjoying this game, and they will not voluntarily make the act of breaking the game. What game?
Are you finished speaking?
Norman said.
This is the end of the basic introduction of the auction. Next, I want to announce to you the daily schedule of the auction. Are you all ready with paper and pen? 7 a.m., waking up. 6 p.m., auction start. 10 p.m., bedtime. You don't even have to write it down. It's easy to remember. And by the way, only tonight's dinner will be prepared for you. Please feel free to make the rest yourselves.
Tonight's dinner? I wonder if Uezumi will prepare it now. Or is it already prepared? Even so, I won't eat it, because the food might be poisonous.
By the way, I haven't prepared any poison, so don't worry.
Norman said, like he'd read my mind. The challenge letter didn't have the word poison as a murder weapon. Even so, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone can't use poison. The challenge letter only lists what the criminal has purchased from the Crime Victims Relief Committee, not what the criminal prepared themselves.
Alright, since you'll be participating in the auction for consecutive days, we have prepared comfortable guest rooms for everyone. However, there are a few notes about the rooms. Please listen carefully. First of all, there's a premise that during the nighttime, from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., everyone's rooms will be completely locked, and the door cannot be opened whether it is from the inside or the outside.
Can't open it from the inside. Isn't that practically a form of imprisonment?
These are the rules. Please abide by them. Then, at 10 p.m. when the door is locked, make sure to be in your room at that time. It's forbidden otherwise. If you violate this curfew, you'll be heavily penalized. Violating the curfew will be regarded as abandoning the participation in the auction, and will no longer have the right to participate in future auctions. In order to avoid such consequences, everyone must pay attention to the curfew.
So we're trapped in our rooms for the night and can't do anything about it.
I have one more important thing to say. I just said that the room will be locked at night, but in fact, someone has a master key.
Master key? Does that mean...
Yes, that person is the murderer.
Hey, that's messed up. This means that only the murderer can move around freely.
Hey, don't panic. The murderer can indeed move around freely in the hotel and kill people at night, but don't forget that there's a detective still. The murderer isn't the only one who has the master key in hand. The one who claimed the detective rights at the auction will also get the master key for that day.
Yeah, that's what that meant. Only the detective can protect the others. The murderer cannot kill in front of the detective. In other words, the detective can prevent the crime from happening by using the master key and getting to the victim before the murderer arrives. Undoubtedly, this is a right, no, a duty, that only the detective is allowed to have.
By the way, detectives must also obey the curfew. If you're not in your room at 10 p.m., the detective rights that you've finally obtained will be gone, so please pay attention to this point. However, although there is a curfew, it does not mean that you have to stay in the room after 10 p.m. If you don't have the master key in hand, you can't get out. But if the detective has the rights, they can leave the room and move freely and bring others out of their rooms. The so-called curfew doesn't matter. In simple terms, this rule states that you must stay in the room only at the moment when the doors are locked, and the actions after that are completely up to the detective and the murderer.
My notepad is already full of writings. I didn't expect this black challenge to be so troublesome. Compared to last time, this time the criminal likes to make rounds. That's why it feels creepy.
I've had so many explanations, but I'm almost done, don't worry. I think I've told you most of what you need to know. Ah, right. I forgot the most important thing,
Norman said jokingly. However, his voice is electronically synthesized, and no emotion can be felt from his words.
After the number on the electronic display turns to 0, those who are still alive can take the cash they are holding at that time straight away. How's that? A great rule, isn't it?
That means if you don't use the money at all and live for 110 hours, you can get a whole 100 million yen?
Do you want a review of the rules? Guess it can't be helped. I'll simply summarize it for you. Rule 4. The guest rooms will be locked at night from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. At 10 p.m., everyone must be in their respective rooms. Rule 5. The murderer has a master key. In addition, the owner of the detective rights also has a master key. Rule 6. If you survive the nights, the rest of the money will be yours. How about it? Has everyone's hearts been captured by this detective auction? Not only can you experience the fun of the game, but you can also get money. Everyone is really lucky.
What's so lucky about that? You've got to be kidding me. Minase intimidated the painting.
Now, finally, let me explain the format of the auction. The next auction will be conducted in a manner commonly known as anonymous bidding. After the auction starts, you will enter the compartment over there one by one in any order, and then bid. You won't know who's bidding how much until the results come out. The minimum unit of payment is 1 million yen. Be careful not to break the 1 million yen seals, and make sure to get the money together before you bid. In addition, once you bid money, you can't get it back, so everyone should be careful. If you don't claim the auction item, the money invested will be wasted.
What a terrible auction. If you don't win, you'll be left with nothing but losses.
Tori-Noa watched the faces of the people around him. His eyes are different from before. It's the look of someone wanting to make the first move.
Also, in case there's more than one highest bidder, the money used for bidding will be voided, and the bidding will start from the beginning again. To make it clear, this is a waste of effort, so please try to avoid it. No one wants to let the money they've easily got their hands go down the drain, right?
I looked down at the money in my hand. Do I really have to participate in this auction for detective rights? Being a detective is a talent and a way of life, not something that can be bought and sold.
When the auction is over, a siren will be sounded to inform everyone. If no one enters the compartment in the next 10 minutes, the auction will automatically end. Keep that in mind.
If someone enters the compartment, everyone else must do the same, right?
Oh, it seems that this took a lot of time, so it's almost time for the auction to begin. I want to say that, but as I've said just now, I prepared a dinner for everyone only for tonight. How about a meal to ease the tension? Maid-kun, there are some preparations that you need to do. Please come to me.
Uezumi frowned for a moment, but she seemed to change her mind immediately. She stood up and went to the balcony as Norman ordered. She might be thinking that her detective identity could be exposed if she acts in a manner that doesn't fit her state as a maid. Uezumi came in front of the Norman painting.
Then I will prepare tonight's dinner.
In the next moment, the Norman painting turned into that creepy murderer look. Next, there was a burst sound as if something exploded. What in the world just happened? Uezumi, who was standing on the balcony, bent her body and stumbled to her feet. We watched her strange behavior with unblinking eyes. It was like a kind of surreal and out-of-reality dance. We couldn't do anything except watch the dancer on the stage quietly. At that moment, as if it multiplied, there was another sound, a gunshot. Uezumi finally couldn't support her body, leaned against the railing of the balcony, and fell down towards us. With a loud thud, Uezumi fell from the balcony onto the dining table. She landed exactly where her hiking bag is. She's facing the sky, her hands covering her abdomen. Her white apron is red with blood, and it's obvious that 2 holes have been opened in her body. Her face is ghastly white, and her gaze is glazed over. Uezumi-san! At the moment when I tried to reach out to her, her whole body suddenly caught flames. Uezumi turned into a huge ball of fire, and I involuntarily stepped back. Uezumi was motionless. The room was filled with a disgusting smell, and black smoke was coming out. Facing this overwhelming flame, we were helpless, and could only watch from the side. My thoughts came to a complete halt. I even felt like I was dreaming. "Put out the fire!" Nanomura said loudly. "Spread out your jackets and wrap her up!" His voice brought me back to my senses. I took off my coat as he said, and threw it towards the fire. The only people who did the same thing were Kirigiri and Nanomura. After the 3 tops wrapped Uezumi, the fire was weakened because our jackets blocked the air that supported it. After that, Nanomura patted the tops and put out the remaining fire. It ended up burning for almost 10 minutes. After everything was over, I looked at Uezumi again, a small body that was scorched black. I didn't have to look to know that she's dead.
Tonight's menu is roasted maid.
Norman's cold, heartless voice rang out. The painting of the murderer changed back to the original rustic youth. "It's terrible." Mifune choked and stared at Uezumi. "This has to be a national conspiracy." Chage panicked. Even Yozuru widened her eyes and was speechless.
Maid-kun sacrificed herself to provide you with dinner. Unfortunately, it seems that she can no longer participate in the auction. It's better to have one less competitor.
"Why would you do this?" Minase said while weeping as his knees hit the ground.
If you guys think this auction is just a joke, then that will be a real headache. I want you to realize that this game is the real deal, so I just killed someone. I haven't done this kind of thing for almost half a century. Everyone was only half convinced until now, right?
You didn't have to kill anyone.
Toyonoa squinted at the burned corpse of Uezumi. "I won't participate in any auction anymore. Please let me go home. I want to go home." Mifune let out a cry of grief. Minase next to her was also crying loudly. Chage looked like he was chanting a sutra, and his mouth mumbled some kind of weird incantation. Our minds are in a mess. Before now, we were pretty much being led by the nose. But after witnessing the death of Uezumi, we now finally know that we have been lost in a darkness where we cannot turn back from.
Oh, one more thing. The death of Maid-kun doesn't count in the killing one person every night rule. This is an exception. Because she wasn't killed, but taken care of. In addition, the deceased cannot participate in the auction, as it should be, right? To prevent unfairness, I'll retrieve the deceased's money. It doesn't matter who does it. Someone throw her hiking bag into the fireplace.
Nanomura dragged out the hiking bag from under Uezumi's corpse. Predictably, however, the bag was burnt to a crisp before it could be thrown into the fireplace. The contents inside were also burned, turned to ash. Following Norman's orders, Nanomura put the hiking bag in the fireplace. Just like that, Uezumi's money was burned up as much as her soul. The number of people participating in the auction went from 10 to 9.
Come on, let's start the first auction. Everyone must finish bidding before 10 p.m. when the curfew comes. By the way, after this, I will not appear in front of you guys again. I'm not an important person anyway. I'm going back to my mother. Only a few simple instructions in text form will guide you through the rest. Good luck.
The Norman painting disappeared, and the LCD screen became pitch black. I stared at the dead Uizumi. Uizumi-san. We were unknowingly controlled by the atmosphere of this place, and the moment we participated in the game, a victim had already appeared. Is this the Black Challenge? I may have underestimated the criminal. I may have underestimated the significance of putting my life on the line. It's surprising how a person can be killed so easily. Death is just around the corner. My legs are trembling, and there's nothing I can do about it.